Take your freedom. That's what I'm going to talk about right now. Take your freedom. And the reason of why I'm talking about this is because I just came from school and a friend, someone that I basically hang out with on school, brought me in his car to my house. That was pretty good, but there's something that I really just started to thought about um, that happened while he was basically bringing me home. And I'm mostly not gonna say any names, whatever. But basically, this guy that I hang out with has a parent. He has a dad, which let's say is not really doesn't really gives a lot of freedom to his kid to his kids, right? And what's crazy is that that guy has like 20 kids, 21. This guy from his classmate from school, he's literally he literally has 20 brothers. He's like the mm, the kid 21. That's crazy, but that's not what this is about. Like, I was in the car with this guy, and basically we had like an adventure because, like, literally, he has been wanting to sell this car that we were in, going in for a long time, and literally we were just on the street, and there was a random guy that was like, cause like you're on the street, and then there's like a light, like a traffic light, and it's obviously when it's red, you need to stop, right? We're in the traffic. We're in the traffic. Basically, the traffic light was on red, and then there was this guy, this random guy, at the right of the car, and he was basically like, "What is this car about?" Or um, how much I want to buy this car. How much do you like? Literally out of nowhere, someone just was passing around viewing cars, and then they view the car that was of my classmate, and he was like, "Man, how much do you um, want me to buy for?" Because it was just so random, and then you obviously he pull up to the left of the street to actually talk with this guy and negotiate and whatever. And it seems like this other guy actually wants to buy this car, right? Now, he was very happy because he was like, man, they're finally gonna buy this car. And obviously, it was very random. That's another thing. I'm gonna get off topic a little bit, but I literally told him, man, let's not go uh, this way because it's slower and there's more traffic and whatever. Let's go this other way where there's it's much faster. And literally, if he had heard me, if he actually did what I told him to do, which was to go for this way, which was much more faster, he wouldn't got met this random guy who actually is probably gonna buy his car. So that's pretty strange of how the universe works. That's another video. Like, that's another story. Basically, um, we were like just going to my home in the streets, and then um, his dad called him because I think some bullshit happened before on school where he basically got um, called out by the teachers for something that he did, which was more about like a group of people where they just did some random stuff that obviously like the teachers don't like the typical random stuff that is not that bad, but still teachers are like, man, you do that, we're gonna get this paper or whatever it is. I don't know how you call it. So he got the paper for some random stuff he did, which is not that bad, but still, it's not like, oh, the schools allow this, right? Um, but he was basically just like watching, and just by the fact that he was watching, he got this paper, which obviously is not that um, it's not the perfect example of justice, right? Or what's fair, whatever. Basically, his dad obviously noticed that. I don't know um if the teachers actually called his dad or whatever. That's not the point. Basically, his dad was calling him, and he was like obviously angry and whatever, and even um whatever, typical, right? After the call, um for example, he told him, but at least something good happened today. There's a guy that's probably gonna buy the car. And then this guy, his father was like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I'm just angry about with you. He just boop. And then after that, we just went for like a great silence, and he was just like, whatever, that was like, my day is not going that well, or whatever he was saying. And I was like, man, look at the bright side, right? Whatever, just trying to support him or whatever. And then his dad called him again, and he was like, man, what do you mean you're gonna sell this car? And then my classmate is like, yeah, I'm gonna sell this car. Don't you remember when you told me that uh, I can sell this car and whatever? And the dad's like, no, you're not gonna sell that car, okay? Bye. And boom. And he's like, my guy, my bro, my classmate is now even much more like sad, if we can say it that way, because his dad literally said, no, you're not gonna sell your car, because at the end of the day, the car is from my classmate. It's not from his dad, um, or his parents, and it's from him, right? And the crazy thing is also that he's not underage, like he's like 20 years old. It's crazy, right? Like I'm hanging out with some 20-year old while I'm 17 and I'm in high school. But yeah, basically this guy just um like took some gap years, and that's basically why he's still in the last year of high school at 20 years old. But whatever, he's basically 20 years old, and this guy's like, man, well, whatever, I'm just gonna do what my dad said. And I was like, what the fuck? Why? Like, you're 20, like you know, like your parents no longer can actually tell you what to say or whatever. Like, you're 20 years old, you're no longer underage. Not only that, but this is your car. What do you mean you're not gonna fucking accept the offer, or you're not gonna sell it just because your father wants to? Without any justification, it's just like because he's fucking angry. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. That's dumb as hell. And he's like, well, yeah, what my father just controls me. He's like, I'm like, what? Controls you at 20 years old? I was like, just really like very confused, because he literally said my father controls me. And I was just thinking, man, what the fuck? Literally. Like it's not that it was something new to me. Like, obviously I know there's a lot of fathers that control their kids even when they're 30 years old. But like I was just actually talking with someone like that. I know I was just like trying to tell him that no, like, why? Like, I was just trying to break that belief that he has, which is whatever my father says is gonna be the thing, right? No, I was telling him like, no, who says that, right? Like, who fucking dictated that, right? I was just trying to break that belief. So it was pretty difficult, whatever, but whatever. And I was asking him like, does your father like controls your life even if you're 20? And he was like, yeah, he also controls a lot of my brother's life, which they are, and even if they are 40 years old. And I was like, wow, what the fuck? I mean, at the end of the day, the father that has these 20 kids or 21 kids, he provides for all of them. He basically, mm, thanks to thanks to that, all of them survive, because his dad has like a good, not a big company, but he has a company, and obviously from that company he basically takes care of all of his kids. So it's not like it's entirely evil, because yeah, he's literally like taking care of his kids, right? But still, you're I was just thinking about it. Like, this guy's literally being controlled by his father. And that didn't say it. He said it, right? Like, oh, I'm being controlled by my father. And I was like, man, wow. And you know, at the end, like the last words that we exchanged, I was like, just like, man, this is your car. Just really think about it. Should your father control you? Like, seriously, you're 20 years old already. You're not underage. You're not 14. So, and this is your car. Are you really gonna say it just because your father said it? Really? Are you giving that power to your father? Because at the end of the day, that's what he's doing, right? He's literally giving all the power to his father. So yeah, he basically got me home, and I was like, man, okay, we're gonna see us Monday, whatever. Because right now it's Friday, and yeah, like, bye bye, have a nice day, bro, whatever. And I was just thinking from the moment that I got into my home, just about all this concept of freedom, because that classmate that I have really has no freedom at all, or he really doesn't have a lot of freedom, because his father controls a lot of what he does, even if he's 20. And also a lot of his brothers, like, they're 40. I didn't say it, he said it. They're 40, and his father really still controls a lot of key decisions that they're made when you're 40 years old. Now, obviously, there's a lot of cases like this, and I already knew about him, but I didn't really knew personally someone, right, that had this situation, that was in this situation. So obviously, it's totally different when you're just aware that it exists in the world, but when you actually meet someone, where you talk with someone that is in that similar situation, it's like different, just very different. And basically, like, the whole point of what I'm saying here with this story that just happened, this real story, literally just happened like 3 hours ago when I arrived home from school, is that you should fight for your freedom. Like, and I know this is gonna be very controversial, right? But it's just what I think. Like, you should fight for your freedom. Doesn't matter if your parents are literally telling you what to do. Like, these last years I have really changed a lot of my mindset, a lot of my beliefs, and it's like, man, I'm basically like, you should fight for your freedom. Doesn't matter what your parents think or what your parents say. Now, obviously, it's very different when you're underage, because you are underage, right? You haven't achieved that majority of age or even maturity biologically. So that may make more sense. But whenever you, like, are like actually an adult, already become an adult, at some countries 18, I think the US is 21. Like, you should fucking fight for your freedom. Like, for example, right now I'm 17, and I really have that, like, constant debate with, like, my parents or whatever. I just want to be free, right? And thankfully, they have really allowed me to be much more free in a lot of things. Um, and I just love that, right? And I'm very grateful. Like, this conversation that I had with this classmate really made me realize that I'm really very very lucky for the parents that I have, and I'm really grateful. Sometimes I just don't agree with a lot of the things that they believe, or yeah, a lot of things they believe or think about the world or whatever, or even the way they treat me or whatever. Like, I'm still very grateful, because there's a lot of people out there like this classmate, where they just don't care. Like, it's just whatever the father, like whatever the parents say, without any logic at all, just because they're the parent, right? Obviously, this still happens to a lot of people. It still happens to me on some cases, but fortunately, and I'm very lucky that doesn't happen in most of the things. So now, obviously, there's even worse people. Like, obviously, we can go to the extreme, and we can be like, man, there's people that are literally at war right now in Ukraine, where they're literally fighting for dead, and this guy just literally needs, or this classmate just literally needs to exist, because at the end of the day, he's being, uh, his parent is basically paying for everything, right? Um, but you know, I don't know. I'm not just gonna get to the personal stuff because I don't even know him that much. I just know him from school, which is not really like the greatest place to know someone. But yeah, that's just something that happened and really reminded me of the situation of freedom. Like you need to really fight for your freedom, and I really genuinely believe this. Even if some people don't agree with it, or it's controversial, like you should fucking fight for your freedom. It doesn't matter if it comes from your parents. Like at the end of the day, just just because they had you, like just because they're your parents, it doesn't mean that they can fucking dictate all your life. Like it doesn't matter. Like some people are even like some people are afraid of that because they're, oh, it's my parents, whatever. But it's like, man, any anyone, like doesn't matter if it's your fucking parents. Like it really doesn't matter. For some people it do matters, but in my opinion it just doesn't matter. Like you shouldn't be controlled by someone that that hard, right? Obviously you're gonna be controlled at the end of the day when you're a kid with by your parents in some way, because but I'm talking about like full control. Like I'm talking about situations like this one where you're 20 years old, you have your own car, it's literally your own, it's not from your parents, and you want to sell it, and your parents, just because they're angry at you, they're gonna say no, you're not gonna sell it. Like, or whatever situation it is, like you're not gonna sell it just because I say to. I fucking don't agree with that at all. So I just told him, man, fuck that, just fuck that. And he's a very, he's not the easiest situation right now. Like he literally told me, their parents basically throw them out of the house, like literally. So he's right now, I think, living on the company he's working at. I don't know, but like, um, sometimes you have like this risk of getting into that situation where they take you out of your house and whatever. But I think it's a great opportunity because in every problem there's an opportunity. He was basically telling that in the car when he was basically driving me home. He was like, "Man, I have this problem, whatever," and I was like, just thinking, man, every problem is an opportunity. So even if you are in this very bad situation, which is obviously uh, not in your comfort zone, you're literally not living in your parents' house. Like they literally throw you out. There's still opportunity. There's a great opportunity right there in that situation that he is right now, because he has really the time. He doesn't have the distractions or whatever, or the environment of their parents, which wasn't the healthiest environment, to actually reassess and be like, okay, what I'm gonna do, and go do what I'm gonna do, right? Like there's a lot of people that literally, if they have not been kicked of their home, or if they have not gotten out from that like family environment, they wouldn't be there right now. Um, so I think a great example, and I'm not saying that this example I'm gonna say, like their parents were bad at him, but the fact is that he got out of his family environment, and that's basically one of the key reasons of why he's has become what he is right now. This example is Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know at what age he actually got from Portugal, from that Portugal Iceland, and basically from that environment alone. Um, I think it was 14. He went to like this sporting club. It's like a club in Portugal, and obviously from there he went to Manchester United. But like in that case, obviously I'm not saying it wasn't difficult. Like being alone whenever you're 16, 17, without your parents is very difficult. But like at the end of the day, look at where he's right now, right? Like that really helped him focus on what he wanted. And that's where what a lot of people really like. That's the turning point of a lot of people getting out of their environment, and it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter, right? Because obviously you will prefer to get out from that environment voluntarily and be like, okay, I'm gonna talk with my parents. I'm gonna just tell them what I'm gonna do, and they're gonna agree, and you go whatever, you go for it, than just your parents kicking you out, right? But at the end of the day, on both environments, you are out from there, and you can really get, you just, for a lot of people, obviously not gonna be for everyone, but just for a lot of people that really are I just know that's just a really great turning point for them. And I'm not saying it's gonna work for everyone, right? Obviously not. Like everyone's different. But like I really believe in freedom. I really believe and really prioritize and freedom, right? So I'm really a big advocate of like having your own freedom and basically doing whatever you want to do. Like obviously without like causing massive harm. Like obviously, if you want to fucking kill 100 people, like go to jail, man. Like what the fuck. But I'm talking about like freedom that doesn't really harm a lot of people. Obviously, I think that's obvious, right? But I think it's valuable to get it out of the way, right? So yeah, man, fight for your freedom. Like at the end of the day, like you're at the end of the day, I know this is gonna sound like a little bit like, but that's the truth. Like at the end of the day, your parents are gonna die, and it's gonna be like, man, like whenever your parents die and you're 40, 50, you're gonna be like, man, I really fucking did everything they told me to do, even if I didn't want to do that. Because that's another thing. There's some people that actually absolutely are okay with whatever their parents told them to do, and they're actually happy at doing that. But whenever you are not comfortable with doing something that your parents are telling you to do, like the most basic example is like study this career university, or even go to university, or go to the job and do this stuff. Like you know, don't waste your time on this. Waste your time on that one. Like at the end of the day, when they die, obviously it's gonna be very sad and whatever. Obviously, you're gonna get emotional. They're your parents, whatever. They basically brought thanks to them you're living, right? So, but apart from that, once you get to that emotional pad or whatever, um, you're like if you're in that situation where you basically were not comfortable where you are, but you just said yes just because they're your parents, and you really use your brain to think critically about all this, you realize like, damn, like they're no longer here, and I gave them all the power of my over my life, and the worst thing is that my life, I don't like my life, and they basically built my life for me, right? It's like that saying where, you know, if you don't build your life, someone else is gonna build it for you, and that's basically what happens with a lot of people. And obviously, I assume like most people don't want that, and I don't want it at all. Obviously, and that's whenever you realize that, it's like, okay, I don't definitely want that, and then the next step is just go do something that prevents that, right? So just actually take action for that to not happen. But yeah, I just wanted to really talk about this because really, like, I was like, damn. After getting out of his car, after getting out of my classmate's car, I was like, man, like he may got like all the, he might eat, he may be in a comfortable home, or whatever. He may go to school, which obviously is greater than not having that. But he's still not free. He's not free. He's like in a, maybe this is not gonna be the greatest analogy, but he's basically like in a gold prison. He's like in a gold prison. Like yeah, he's in a prison because he's not entirely free, but he's in a gold prison, right? In the gold one, where he has all this stuff, and it's still a prison, right? Like obviously, if it's gold prison, well, you have much more like things going here and there than other people, but it's still a prison. So it's a really interesting thing to think about. And I don't know, I just fucking love freedom, and I think that's really the way in which everyone just basically tackles their full potential on whatever they want to do. Because at the end of the day, everyone's different, so everyone really wants to tackle different things. And I think if we like as a society, as humanity itself, as a civilization, we could all tackle as as much as possible our calling or the things we like. I think it will be a very interesting civilization, right? Now, obviously, there's still millions of people that actually do this, but I'm just talking about the ones who are in that situation where they're not entirely free. And even right now, myself, I'm not entirely free, right? But I'm also very great. Like, I'm also very lucky. It's a complex situation to talk about because at the end of the day, there's people in all of the, like, in the best situation, there's people in the worst situation, and you're somewhere in the middle, and it's like, really, it's complex to really like compare yourself with all people and just talk about this. But I think it's a great point just that you can take on, that everyone can take on, is just do what feels right, right? Like, just do what feels right and take your freedom. Like, don't let anyone, even your parents. I know this is gonna be a real, this is really a very like delicate thing for a lot of people because it's family and whatever. But in my opinion, in my view, I just don't give a fuck if they're my parents or my family. I'm like, man, do what you want, do what feels right for to you, right? So that's the thing, and hopefully, this was pretty helpful for you.